Welcome to the new segment of FinX Weekly. I'm going to do the best I can to go over names that I see during the week that a lot of people are reporting on in FinX and sharing, and go over them and give my 2 cents on technical analysis and what could potentially be coming down the pipeline. So some of the bigger themes this week, again, it's been a bigger theme over the last few months, is space, AI, and energy. So let's kick it off with ONDS. Ondas. I think that's how you say it. Overall, you can see that it's got a nice base here. It broke out of this high, and now we're getting a nice little flag. I would call this a bull flag. We just have to see how it really plays out here, but it's underneath the 8 EMA, but it's still above the 20 EMA. So you 20 EMA buyer, 21 EMA, that is. You 21 EMA buyers, 20 EMA, whatever, it's an area, it doesn't really matter too much. Here is your opportunity. So whatever signals that you guys have intraday to enter your positions, now is the time I would say you would be looking for it. Otherwise, really, we just got to look to make sure that this area holds. It can easily undercut it and then come back above. If that happens, I'd still be looking for longs, but overall, this looks pretty darn good. Short-term EMAs are down to mostly flat, but the moderate term, the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA, they're still pointing up. It's got a nice base, and now it's just retesting the breakout area. Looks pretty darn good. Next, ASTS SpaceMobile. This looks great too. Nice base. Short-term EMAs are pointing up. So the 8 to 21, 50 EMA is up, 20 EMA is up, nice base breakout, and now it's time correcting. So I would say this is actually stronger than ONDS, where this is price correcting. This is time correcting and letting the short-term EMAs catch up to it. You got to watch this, this 120.60 to 116 level. Somewhere around here, there's just supply there, right? You can see all those topping tails, but it's closing at all-time highs. So it looks pretty darn great. You want to zoom out to the weekly. There's nothing but blue skies up here. Breaking out, nice bottoming tail on the weekly. It looks pretty solid. I would look for continuation in ASTS, especially above this 120.93 high. It just kind of depends on, it's at 3 inside days now. So it depends on when it wants to break out, where you set your stop loss and your independent strategy. NBIS, this one I think needs a little bit more time. Here's a downtrend line, downtrend area. I do see a reverse head and shoulders here. There's a neckline. We get another pullback. As long as we hold above this level here to create a higher low versus this low on December 31st, then, I think it's okay. But really looking at the EMAs is not doing much right now. You could pre-position and maybe buy small into a larger position for a future rounding up. But right now, it's not really doing anything. It's setting up, but it's not ready to go yet. IREN, on the other hand, I think this is ready to go. This looks good for next week. You can see it's a reverse-ish head and shoulder patterns. We are certainly getting higher lows here. We're getting higher highs. We broke out of the neck pattern, if you want to consider this a reverse head and shoulders. And it's holding. And it's holding nicely. We have nice volume on a green day here, so I would expect continuation into next week here. The short-term EMAs are up. The 50 EMA went from flattening to now pointing up. The 200 EMA is slowly sloping up. If you want to look at the anchor VWAP from the prior high, see where that is in relation. The average participant from the all-time high here, I believe that's all-time high, is above water. The average participant from the low, this most recent low, is above water. Buyers are in control here, so this looks pretty good for continuation. It's one of my favorites. Zeta, pretty strong price correction after the breakout here. This we can see, pulled back to this prior support area of 119.50. Let's just call it. Bounced from there. We'll see what actually happens. I don't think this looks as good as ASTS or IREN or ONDS, simply because it didn't hold these highs. However, it's got a nice base. It has a potential for higher low here. It's most likely headed higher. Let's see, it found supply. I mean, that's an engulfing bearish candle there. Almost, not really quite engulfing. But you can see that this prior area this 24, I mean, even up to 27. It's got a lot of supply, potential supply in this area. So Zeta is an okay look, not on the top of my list from what I'm seeing. LRCX, very strong name, broke out, just continues to absolutely rip over the 8 EMA. You can see that these names, the ones that are on FinX, they move. But also, if they move to the upside, they can collapse to the downside, which we have seen with CRWV. When that was super hot over here, then everyone, who didn't sell got absolutely smoked and got hurt. So just be mindful of that. These names are movers and they're mostly momentum names. So just manage your risk. Micron, nice breakout trend, time correction to the 8 EMA. We got a breakout again. I would not be buying here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green days in a row. I'd look for another price or time correction. Overall, it looks pretty good though. It's nice and trending. Trend is your friend until it dies in the end. Rocket Lab, another very popular one here, broke out of this range, came back and failed. It undercut it, and then it broke out again, retested, and then broke out of this high, retested. So now it's trending upwards. It's pretty whippy. You see a lot of tails here. Pretty volatile name, so just try and be very sniper-like in your entries as best as you can. But if you're wrong, you're wrong, and get out. Don't hold and be a bag holder with this name or really any of these volatile names. But it looks decent overall. Path is another one that I see a lot. It's not doing anything. It's just staying in this range. Indecision, EMAs. And maybe long-term fundamentals. I'm not super familiar with the fundamentals of it. I read most of it about fundamental-wise. It at least filled this gap, so that's good. But I don't know. I think there are better places to be other than Path. Tesla, go watch my weekly market review video. I go over this every week. Tesla looks pretty, I think it's going to be solid for 2026, but right now it's also not doing anything. It's just ranging. But once this thing starts moving, you need to watch it. CRWV, this might be shaping up here. I have a downtrend line area here that it needs to break. It kind of looks like there's a reverse head and shoulders pattern here, but pretty whippy overall. But it can move. So if you get a nice entry, nice risk reward, there's potential here. But you just got to make sure, again, you don't bag hold with these FinX names, these momentum names that everyone tosses around, which you can benefit from, which is why I'm doing this. I think it's helpful to take advantage of these names, but you have to have the proper risk management and plan to do so. AMD, it's extended 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 green days in a row into these prior resistance areas. Don't be shocked that we're finding supply here and getting a topping tail. I wouldn't be shocked if we pull back or maybe even time correct just below this. But overall, I do like AMD. This does look it looks pretty darn solid. Let's look at the weekly. Yeah, that looks pretty nice, right? So we shall. Battery's dying. We shall see what happens there. Rocket, RKT. This looks pretty darn good too. Very whippy. You can see a lot of topping tails, but when it moves, so you got to be precise with these entries. It's below the 21 EMA. The 8 EMA is now down. So short-term wise, I think it needs some work. What you could do is put an anchored VWAP at these prior highs and wait until price gets above that, so you at least know the average participant in the market from that high is above water, and then you can do a little anchor VWAP pinch from this low here, chops around and wait for it to break one way or the other. This is not the best look to trade right now. PL, Planet Labs, this is solid. So you want to draw a little pattern here. We can do a nice little rounding. We'll do that resistance. We got a rounding bottom right there. EMAs are up. We got a nice gap on earnings, so that's what sent this thing flying. We could do an anchor VWAP from the earnings and see how it respects that. So if it loses some steam, if it loses gas here, which it could be, I would look for support around this anchor VWAP from the earnings, post-earnings gap, PEG, and see if price wants to find some support there. IONQ is another popular one that I see. I don't know why it's not doing anything. I have nothing to say about this. Don't waste your time, maybe. There are better things out there. EOSE, another popular one. This thing is freaking whippy and spready, so you got to be prepared. It can move, but it can also move against you. And shake you out. So I'm not a super fan of how this one trades. It's just chopping sideways. Maybe if it wants to break out above into the highs, it'll be in play. But overall, it's nah. Long term, I'm sure it's going to be fine. KTOS, this another one that has absolutely moved. We can go just estimate here of area. We got a lot of gaps at this kind of sent this off and moving to the races here. We're getting a nice pullback. You can set an anchor VWAP from the prior high. Where might we find some support here? Anchor VWAP from the last low, maybe in this area by the 50 EMA. Ideally, it holds if you're trading this right around this area, and even the 21 EMA is the last line. But if it loses that 21 EMA, most likely with how volatile this is, I can see a big old shakeout to the 50 and maybe even getting bought up. But that's pretty hard to trade. BE, Bloom Energy, this looks pretty solid. It's made a nice move. If we want to go to prior supply area, there it is. Kind of made the high, and it's holding where it needs to for now, especially with the 8 EMA. But this looks pretty good. I would say this is tradable. Just again, manage your risk. TSM, this is been a popular one. This has been helping out the semiconductors. Make sure my battery doesn't die here. 20%. Breakout, nice running bottom, breakout, retest, and now it's just holding and trending up the 8 EMA. So the trend is your friend until it dies in the end. Again, 80, the short-term and moderate-term EMAs are heading on upwards. This looks pretty darn good. And then SNDK, this thing has been a monster. I put out a tweet the other day. I said this thing is going to be a good short one day. I still think that's true. Just when, I have no clue. But either way, this is beautiful. If you caught this trade, well done. Nice rounding bottom, breakout, and then ever since this high volume breakout here, it has just moved. So well done. Manage your risk. If you're still in this, it's kind of extended away from the 8 EMA. I would not buy here personally. If you want to set an anchor VWAP from this high volume breakout bar here, that price is going to bring you to 404. But again, this thing has moved from, let me just do this low here from the base to the high here, 178, let's just say 177% in 40 trading days. That's insane. So, very volatile name. Manage your risk and don't get caught holding the bag. All right, so those are the popular names that I saw this week. Hopefully the analysis helps you guys out. If you got questions, obviously comment below. I'll do the best I can to answer all of them. And trade well, manage your risk, do your homework, like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you next week. Later.